It wasn't just Trump on the campaign trail yesterday. It was also JD Vance, known to some as JP Mandel.
We've endorsed JP, right? JD Mandel.
Exactly, JD Mandel. Bloodthirsty MAGAs booing down a journalist who had the audacity to ask JD, hey, will you accept the election results? Is that something? Boo. Any basic question that JD is unwilling to answer, the audience jumps in and just boos the reporter.
CBS 5 and 3 TV. Simple question. We're 2 weeks away from... Got a lot of fans here, as you can hear.
Just one. I just heard one. Yeah. That's okay. Go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah, we'll end with this question. The election is 2 weeks from today. I'm not going to be asking you about 4 years ago, but from what you've seen, from what you've learned, are you confident in the Arizona election system, and are you going to accept the results moving forward?
Well, look, I think that
Boo.
we're in a better place than we were in 2020. And I think that what we're going to keep on working on over the next couple of weeks, I mean, you saw this even in 2022, where some of the voting machines in Maricopa went down on Election Day. Now, whether you think that was just incompetence or something else, it's not okay. We want every legal ballot to be cast and to be counted in the United States of America. So we're going to keep on fighting for election integrity.
So that's not a yes.
But look, Dennis, sitting here today, are we going to get this perfect? Of course we're not going to get it perfect, but we're doing a hell of a lot better in 2024 than we were in 2020. So the best message that I can give is to get out there and vote through whatever method makes the most sense. And look, I'm one of these guys, I don't love election season. I like election day. But as President Trump said, it is what it is. And if we're going to have early voting and mail-in voting and election day voting, then we need to take advantage of every opportunity we have to vote. Get out there.
Yeah, so this is, of course, the correct message if you're trying to win an election, which is don't tell people vote in fewer ways than the other side is voting. Now, Trump has gone back and forth between, are you going to say that the voting methods other than on same day election in person are fraud or not? Sometimes Trump says it is fraud. Sometimes Trump says it's not. But what we can be sure of, if I were a betting man, I would not bet on the election results. It's a coin flip. It's really a coin flip. What I would bet on is that Trump will say he won. I think at some point in this thing, whether it's late on November 5th, early on November 6th, later in the week, I don't know. At some point, Trump is going to say that he won. Now, for those who heard JD Vance's answer there and said, I don't know, he sounds kind of reasonable. JD Vance is completely unreasonable on this question. Here is JD Vance being asked during the All In podcast, would you have certified the 2020 election? And he says, no, he would not.
He was asked to not certify it.
Sure.
So would you have certified? I'll ask you for the third
Again,
time.
I would have asked the states to submit alternative slates of electors and let the country have the debate about what actually matters and what kind of an election that we have.
You
in
wouldn't
these
have
important
certified
states.
it, to be clear.
I would have asked the states to submit alternative slates of
I think
electors.
that's
what I would have done.
That's a no. They love to frame this as if it's a completely reasonable and fair thing. It's not about I wouldn't have certified. I would have gone back and I would have said to the states that Biden won, give us your Trump electors so we have them, so that they're ready. And then let's have a debate about who won, as if it's subject to debate who won when we have all of the evidence that Biden won and no evidence that he did not. They love to frame it like it's a reasonable thing. I'm not crazy. Listen, I wasn't going to go in there and just declare Trump the king. I was just going to say, hey, come up with alternate electors. Why? I don't know. Is there any legal basis? No. Come up with alternate electors and let's debate who won. See, I'm a reasonable guy. Anything short of maintaining the schedule on which Biden would be certified the winner, given that there was no evidence that Biden was not the winner, is an extreme view. But they figured out a way to couch it differently. Now, here's a video where the good liars caught up with JD and said, did Trump win in 2020? And JD says, yes, he did.
Who won the 2020 election? Could you just answer, did Donald Trump win, yes or no?
Yes.
He did win?
Yep.
So will you concede? Will you concede if your opponent gets If your opponent gets more votes,
All right. So as you heard there, Jason Selvig of The Good Liars saying, did Trump win? And JP Mandel says, yes, he did. He won. Now, back to JD's event yesterday. It went wrong in just about every way. Just about everything that could go wrong did. JD Vance's lectern sign fell off again. Can they not even get double-sided tape right? And he blames Kamala Harris.
And ask yourself what you can do from now until then to make sure it doesn't happen.
There it goes.
That if there's a... Kamala Harris put that sign up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, she did. She's already trying to steal the 2024 election, right?
Isn't that funny? It's so funny to blame Kamala Harris for stuff. And then finally, JD Vance does not directly answer whether he wants to strip legal status from migrants who are here legally. This is a critical question because Donald Trump was recently told, you know that you keep calling the Haitian migrants in Springfield, Ohio, illegal. They're here legally. They're here with something called temporary protected status. Joe Biden didn't invent that. Barack Obama didn't invent that. It's been around since the early 90s. You may not like it, but they're here legally. Trump has said, I'm going to get that overturned and we're going to deport them. JD Vance is asked, are you planning? Do you support stripping legal status from people who have it? Let's see if we can figure out JD's answer.
Hi, JD Vance. We talked a few weeks ago in Tucson. I'm Jose Angel from Telemundo. I want to ask you a little bit because Donald Trump has said before that he will revoke the temporary protective status of some migrants in Ohio. And I want to ask you, what's your plan? Will you support that? The same thing for migrants in different communities, not just Haitians, Venezuelans, or Mexicans in general that are applying for asylum, which is basically a program that is legally based. And what would you do with them if you would revoke them or not?
Well, there are, of course, so many differences between Donald Trump's approach to the border and Kamala Harris's approach to the border.
Notice how this is, it's already off topic.
This particular issue, I think that what Kamala Harris has done is she has used programs that are meant to help people who are escaping tyranny, and she's used it to grant amnesty to millions upon millions of people who have no legal right to be.
Now, of course, Kamala Harris has done nothing. She doesn't control or have any say in those laws
in the country, and that has to stop. Because here's what happens. Here's what happens when Kamala Harris grants millions upon millions of people legal status.
Okay, he doesn't answer the question. I'm not going to torture you with another 90 seconds of video. He doesn't answer the question. He blames Kamala Harris for personally granting millions of undocumented migrants legal status, which she didn't do. She had nothing to do with it. The vice president has nothing to do with that. These decisions are made by various agencies completely out of the control of the vice president. JD's events are not going well. And there's a reason why of all the favorability, I believe last I saw favorability is like Tim Walz, people love him, followed by Kamala Harris, followed by Trump, with JD Vance at the absolute bottom in favorability. JD reminding us of why that's the case. I wrote a book. This was so much work and a long time coming, but I am thrilled about how it turned out, and I hope you will read it. The book is called The Echo Machine. The 10-second summary is I explain how things broke in American politics, how to fix it, and which countries have already figured it out. No matter who wins in November, we need a plan, and that's what the book is about. If Trump wins, the book is a warning about how we got here and how to prevent it from getting worse. If Kamala Harris wins, the book explains what we do with this incredible opportunity to improve the lives of Americans. The book faces long odds, I will admit. There's the belief that to have a successful political book, you need corporate media, and that it really can't be done successfully with an independent media platform like mine. But I believe that we can prove them wrong. I hope you will order the book today. You can get The Echo Machine at davidpakman.com/echo, on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible, Kindle, anywhere that books, ebooks, and audiobooks are sold. You can also call any local bookstore, ask them to order The Echo Machine by David Pakman. No matter where you get the book, you will get the free pre-order bonuses, including a signed book plate. After ordering, just go to davidpakman.com/freebookstuff. davidpakman.com/freebookstuff to get the free stuff. Let's do this.